The most chilling reality about profound empathy deficits isn't a moral failing, it's a structural absence. Imagine a critical circuit board, physically incomplete, unable to process the very signals of human suffering. This isn't metaphor, this is the neuroscientific truth of certain predatory minds. Their brains simply do not register distress in the same way yours does. Today, we are going to unlock the hidden mechanisms behind what I call the dark circuit, the specific neural architecture primarily involving the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, whose atypical development and function literally restructure an individual's capacity for compassion. You will understand how these crucial brain regions, when operating outside the typical parameters, create a profound, often unsettling empathy gap. To grasp this, let's start with the amygdala. Think of your amygdala as the brain's alarm system, a pair of almond-shaped structures deep within the temporal lobes. Its primary job involves processing emotions, especially fear and threat. When you see someone in pain or even just a distressed facial expression, your amygdala typically fires up. It registers that discomfort, and that signal is then relayed to other parts of your brain, initiating a cascade of responses that often lead to feelings of sympathy or a desire to help. It's the neural spark that ignites your concern. But the threat is that for someone for today. In individuals with psychopathic traits, this system often operates differently. Infiguringly, Dr. James Blair, in his extensive work documented around 2003, elucidated how the amygdala in these individuals exhibits a hypoactive response to the distress cues of others. Picture a smoke detector that just doesn't go off when there's a fire. It's not ignoring the fire, it simply doesn't perceive it as a threat or a significant event worthy of alarm. So, when a typical person encounters a crying child or someone exhibiting signs of physical anguish, their amygdala activates, signaling danger or suffering, prompting an emotional reaction. For someone with a psychopathic brain structure, that same scene might elicit minimal to no amygdala activation. The distress signal simply doesn't register with the same intensity, or sometimes at all. It's as if the world speaks a language of emotional signals, and their brain either misunderstands the grammar or outright lacks the sensory receptors for certain crucial dialects. This isn't just about feeling less, it's about a fundamental difference in how information about others' emotional states is processed at the most basic neural level. It's a foundational gap, not just a preference. And if you're finding this exploration of the mind's hidden machinery as compelling as I do, take a brief moment, if you haven't already, to comment below with your initial thoughts on this dark circuit. What part of this lack of distress response resonates most with you? And please, consider subscribing to the channel. Engaging with the content like this signals to the platform that these deep dives into the science of human behavior matter, helping us reach more minds seeking to understand why people do what they do. Now, back to how this structural anomaly shapes their entire interaction with the world. This subdued amygdala response means the initial emotional data crucial for empathy is severely diminished. But it gets even more profound. The true revelation lies in the dysfunctional interplay between this quiet amygdala and another critical region, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, or VMPFC. Imagine the VMPFC as the brain's moral compass and decision-making hub, deeply integrated with our emotional experiences. It's where your gut feelings, those signals from your amygdala and other emotional centers, get integrated into your rational thought processes, guiding your moral judgments and social behavior. It helps you understand the impact of your actions on others, foresee consequences, and regulate your impulses based on what feels right or wrong. Now, consider a brain where the amygdala isn't effectively sounding the alarm for others' distress. This insufficient emotional input then travels to the VMPFC. What happens next is truly disturbing. Without robust emotional signals about suffering, the VMPFC's capacity to engage in moral reasoning tied to empathy is severely compromised. It's like trying to navigate a dense fog without a working lighthouse. How can you weigh the ethical implications of harming another if your brain barely registers that harm as a significant emotional event? Research by Koenigs and colleagues in 2007 demonstrated this vividly in studies of individuals with VMPFC lesions. These patients, despite intact general intelligence, showed profound deficits in moral decision-making, often choosing utilitarian but emotionally callous options that most people would find abhorrent. Their rational calculations were unburdened by empathy. This isn't a conscious choice to be cruel, it's a brain structure that literally alters the processing of moral dilemmas. Think of it this way. For most people, the thought of deliberately causing pain to another person triggers immediate emotional aversion, a heavy, negative feeling that guides them away from such actions. This aversion is rooted in the VMPFC integrating those distress signals from the amygdala. For someone with the dark circuit, that emotional weight is dramatically lighter or altogether absent. The before picture is a brain that instinctively recoils from causing suffering. The after is one that might view another person's pain as a tool, an inconvenience, or even something to exploit because the internal emotional alarms simply aren't sounding. This isn't merely a difference in personality, it's a fundamental divergence in the neural architecture that underpins compassion and moral restraint. It changes everything about how you understand cruelty. It stops being a vague concept of evil and becomes a specific, measurable dysfunction in the human brain's emotional machinery. Understanding this structural brain gap is not about excusing behavior, but about equipping you with powerful insight. Here are 3 specific ways you can apply this knowledge in your daily life. First, recalibrate your expectations in high-stakes interactions. If you encounter someone who consistently displays a profound lack of remorse, manipulates others without compunction, or seems genuinely unaffected by suffering they cause, recognize that appealing to their empathy is often futile. Trying to make them see your pain or understand the harm they've done by describing your feelings may be like trying to communicate in a language they don't have the neural structures to process. Instead, focus on clear boundaries, consequences, and protecting yourself. In a workplace dispute, for example, instead of explaining how their actions hurt your feelings, emphasize the quantifiable negative impact on project timelines or team productivity, and state the specific, measurable repercussions if the behavior continues. The outcome? A more effective, less emotionally draining engagement with individuals who operate on a different neural logic. Second, enhance your ability to recognize genuine emotional responses. By understanding what an absence of typical empathy looks like, you become more attuned to its presence in others. Observe how people react to distress, not just what they say. Do their facial expressions mirror the emotion? Do their actions demonstrate genuine concern, or are they purely performative? For instance, after hearing upsetting news, does a person exhibit subtle signs of sadness, a furrowed brow, a momentary pause, a shift in tone, or do they immediately pivot to self-interest or a detached analysis? This method allows you to distinguish authentic compassion from superficial mimicry, enabling you to build stronger, more trustworthy relationships and avoid those who might exploit your emotional vulnerabilities. Third, consciously cultivate your own ventromedial prefrontal cortex and amygdala pathways. Just as a muscle can be strengthened, these empathy circuits benefit from intentional use. Engage in perspective-taking exercises. Actively imagine yourself in someone else's shoes, feeling their joy, their frustration, their sorrow. Read diverse narratives, watch documentaries that explore different life experiences, or simply listen deeply to friends' and colleagues' stories without judgment. Regularly reflect on the emotional impact of your own actions on others, both positive and negative. A specific method could be spending 10 minutes each day meditating on a news story, consciously trying to feel the emotions of those involved, then considering a positive action you could take, however small. The expected outcome? A more robust, responsive emotional intelligence, allowing you to deepen your connections and make more ethically grounded decisions. You now possess a perspective that fundamentally alters how you perceive human cruelty. It's no longer just an enigma of evil, but a devastating, tangible reality born from specific neural architecture. Understanding the dark circuit transforms your view of compassion itself, revealing it not as a universal default, but as a complex, vulnerable product of a finely tuned brain. You see now why some truly cannot connect with the suffering of others because their brain simply does not compute it. Where have you seen this emotional disconnect? If this explanation has deepened your understanding, please like this video. It serves as a personal bookmark, ensuring you can easily find this exact breakdown again next time you observe these patterns in yourself or someone else. The human mind holds an infinite number of these intricate, hidden mechanisms. Now that you grasp the stark reality of the empathy gap, you are prepared to delve even deeper. Continue to challenge your assumptions and expand your understanding of human behavior. Subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next critical discovery we uncover about the hidden forces shaping our actions.